Okay, so this is part two. Um, that this part of the journey starts with 5 years ago. I was always asking for discernment. I hear people say, "Well, God told me this," and that kind of makes me cringe most times because I just feel like people want to follow God and they have this thought that maybe they're supposed to say something and it's put on their heart, but I think sometimes just people get confused about that, and I don't trust everyone when they say that. It's something that I really need to kind of feel prompted at least once or twice by to really believe that that really was of God, and that's part of the discernment for myself. And so I had been asking for discernment, and all of a sudden, I kept feeling closer and closer and closer to God. And it was really a beautiful, emotional time where I felt like, for the first time, I was being loved by God. I just felt like, oh, he loves me, but I can't accept it. And I want to. But I'm nothing. So why would he want something from me? And so it was more like just this pouring out of myself and just, pleading with God for this discernment, pleading with him. And for some reason, the words consecration and sanctification really were pressed in on me. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And it kind of scares me because I don't know. That just seems really heavy. But God, if this is what you want from me, if you will sanctify me and consecrate me and give me discernment so I know that it's you and not myself, because I can't trust myself. I just can't. I can't trust my own thoughts, and I can't trust my own feelings, because every man's heart is a liar, right? Something truly amazing happened, and I will never forget this moment in my life. I'm a horticulturist, and I work outdoors, and I work alone. And I'm a woman in a field of a lot of men. And, with that comes the territory of catcalls, and not because I'm good looking, but because I'm a woman by myself. And frequently I'm bent over and I'm pulling weeds and I'm doing things that gets people's attention, right? So I'm very careful about that. I'm very careful about in public where I bend over, where I go, what I do. And so that's always been a job that for me, I just never felt like I could listen to music. I could never wear headphones. I could never wear anything like that, because I need to be aware of my surroundings at all times, because most people are good, but there are people that, and I'm very jumpy. I think a lot of specific trauma events in my life have caused me to be, I'm not scared. But if you see me jump, I'm very jumpy, and I have a very exaggerated startle reflex. And so sometimes when people notice that the first time, they do it on accident, some guys, they love to keep doing it. They love to see that they could scare you, and that's not cool. So if you're one of those people, really reconsider, because for someone like that you're not going to be vulnerable and just start crying if you can help it, and you're not going to tell people your story of things that happen in your life. You're going to blow it off like it's nothing. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked, and this is probably going to happen many times. This is who I am. I go on rabbit trails. I always felt guilty about the rabbit trails, but in the last 2.5 years, I've seen how rabbit trails can be amazing, really amazing. So one day I was working by myself, and I just started deciding I'm going to listen to something in my earbuds. I'm just going to wear one so I can be aware of my surroundings, and it's usually what's up against a building is the ear that I choose to put my earbud in, and the other one I leave out. And so I was listening to these testimonies and this Christian music and praise and worship and just commentaries and just different things, whatever was, there, whatever interested me. And I remember this specific day. I was listening to something called Precious Testimonies on YouTube, and it was just fascinating. And I wear gloves a lot, and I'm working outdoors. And I sometimes work along buildings that have mirrored windows. So people could see out, but I can't see in. And so I do not want anyone to ever think that I'm not working or I'm messing with my phone, because I don't know what I'm doing. They don't realize that it's switching videos or music or whatever. So I don't often change things unless I just really can't stand listening to whatever it is. And you know how YouTube is. You listen to one video and the next one is similar. And the next one after that is similar. And before you know it, an hour goes by, and the first video is really not in the realm of what you first put it on. It might be kind of similar, but not really. And so I had started out with testimonies, and I heard one, and it was this person that was Jewish, and they were a believer in Jesus as their Messiah, but they called him Yeshua. I was like, that's very interesting. That's just so awesome. I just loved it, you know? And I remember significantly that video, that person said, we don't consider ourselves Christians. We consider ourselves completed Jews. And I thought, wow, that is so interesting. That's so, like, I love this. Like, and some of the new videos were playing that. Well, I went on for probably a couple hours, and I'm listening to these different testimonies, and a lot of them were Jewish believers in the Messiah, and they called themselves Messianic Jews, and I thought that was really interesting. But then the next video that changed everything was one, and I don't know what it was still to this day, because I don't see the videos, I'm just listening. And I remember hearing this video, and it wasn't a testimony, and it was somebody that was talking about church history, and it was talking about Christianity, and how the original believers were followers of the way. And I was like, this is really interesting. I really like this. And then all of a sudden, it started to talk about history, and it made some claims that I was, sorry to say, I was so pissed. I was so angry. Absolutely. They made the claim that Easter and Christmas were pagan holidays, and that the church changed God's Sabbath day from Friday night at sundown to Saturday night sundown to now Sunday. And then they renamed it, instead of the Sabbath or Shabbat, they renamed it, see, here I am, forgetting my words, the Lord's Day. And I was like, that is not true. Absolutely, that's not true. How could any single pastor that would know this, how could they dare teach this? Like, how could they let us be lied to forever for 2,000 years? Like, there is no way any of this is true. And I was so angry, I pulled out my phone and I turned it off. I was like, I'd rather listen to nothing than this garbage. I am so angry at this point. I am pruning and I'm working, and I can't. I was so angry that I could not get over it. And I had only been working a couple hours that day, and I finally was like, you know what? I am going to my car, and I am proving this is wrong. And as soon as I'm done, I'm going back to work. I'm going to start listening to something different. Oh, God had other plans, I'm telling you. Because I sat in my car, and I Googled, and I realized everything that I just watched was true. I was so devastated. Everything that I believed to be the truth was just smashed in seconds. Everything that I was concrete and unchangeable was a lie. And at that moment I said, I don't even know if Jesus is your son. God, I don't know. I don't even know where I could go to find out the truth. I Googled several different places, several different things. They would talk about the Council of Nicaea and several different councils. And that the Greek Orthodox Church had changed it all to look less Jewish. So I finally got to the point, I said, I don't even know if Christianity is true. Don't take Jesus from me. Don't take Christmas, and of all things, do not take Easter. I don't even know what to do with myself, so for 2 hours, I just cried. And I cried out to God, and I just finally said, I don't even know if your son is the promised Messiah. The only thing that I can know to be absolutely true is you are who you say you are. You are the same today, yesterday, and forever. You said that. You created. I see evidence of your creation. I see nature. I work in it every day. I see how everything just works together, and I know what you say is true, and I believe that you, God, are who you say you are. And in that moment, I realized I don't even know who he even is. I knew who Jesus was. I knew who Jesus was. And I knew he was the Son of God, and I thought, if he was praying to you, why don't I know you? Why don't I know who you are? So I finally just told him that I said, I believe you are who you say you are. I believe that you are God. And I believe you created all things. And I don't have anywhere to go to find out any answers. So if your son is the Messiah, you have to show me. I will never again, if you will reveal yourself to me, I will never again go to another human being for your truths. I will come straight to you, but you've got to give me discernment, something I've been begging for. You've got to consecrate me, and you've got to sanctify me to yourself. And you have got to make it emphatically clear that this is of you, not my own mind. You have to do it. And so I drove home. I couldn't even go back to work. And I was utterly devastated. I have never in my life been so desperate. Because I knew I didn't know anything. I am so infantile in my belief that I didn't even know who God the Father was. And I finally decided, you got to show me. And one thing, I've never heard his voice, still to this day. One thing is he gave me discernment. I felt a pressing in on myself like I've never in my life. I can't describe it. The only words that I could use to describe it, an analogy, is a memory foam mattress. That pressing in when you push it down and you see the imprint left in it, when you raise your hand, you know something was there. And that's what I felt. I felt like he just pressed in on my heart, and I felt the imprint. And I knew what he was saying. And he said, you have to go back to the beginning, and you've got to read it with brand new eyes like a little child. You've got to look at it from a lens like you don't know anything, right where you are. And you have to discover me brand new, completely brand new. And so I thought, where's the beginning? Is that Matthew 1? He said, no, before that. So I finally decided, okay, Genesis 1:1. God, you know I don't know so much. You have to show me. You have to show me. And he did. And it's the most beautiful, crushing, devastating, it's so worth it journey I've ever been on in my life. And it has changed every single thing that I've ever believed. And so I'll move on to that journey next as I remember the facts, and it might take me a little bit to really think about how that started out so I don't stammer all over my words. And I'm glad that you're still listening.